So I've been holding off on making this video, a video about Call of Duty 2023, Treyarch's next game. There have been a bunch of alleged leaked images on the interwebs that talk about this game. But because a lot of those images are just very clearly fake, and so many of them are unsubstantiated claims about these early working titles, so on and so forth, it was all just circumstantial evidence, you know what I mean? But with that being said, there is one very interesting part about the Call of Duty Black Ops 5? Would it be Black Ops 5? Or would it be Black Ops 6? Because technically Cold War was a Black Ops game, but it wasn't necessarily Black Ops 5. Leave in the comments, I don't know. But basically there is one specific picture that I want to talk about today. I'm going to leave really all the other ones out, because again, they're so not credible and very easily could be fake, and don't get me wrong, this image could very easily be fake as well, so take all of this with a grain of salt. But this image at least has some sort of backing to it. As you can see, it's the Zombies factions. I don't know if you guys remember Zombies factions. I think it was Black Ops 4 that had them, and Treyarch said they were going to be doing so much stuff with Zombies factions and so on, and they were so excited about it, man. Zombies factions was going to be the next big thing. And then they didn't do anything with it, and they went radio silent on the whole thing, and we never heard from them again. There were rumors that they were going to try to bring back factions inside of Cold War. Obviously, that didn't happen. But now, as we go into the 2023 Call of Duty Treyarch game, could factions be returning? As you can see on the screen, we have 3 factions, and then one on the far right that I can't really tell what it is. We have Omega, Requiem, and a Dark Ether faction, which that one actually seems really interesting. But the idea would be that every season, so for example, we're in season 1 right now for Vanguard, for the entirety of that season, you team up with a faction. By playing as that faction, there are specific challenges that you could do to unlock rewards, so on and so forth, yada yada yada. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff they could do with this. And honestly, this does make a lot of sense in the long run, because it really doesn't seem like there's going to be like an Omega versus Requiem sort of thing anymore going on in the storyline, but it's more or less it's going to be everybody against the Forsaken and our pal Eddie. And based on what we've been learning from Call of Duty Vanguard, it seems like there's going to be some sort of Dark Ether presence as well that we'll be able to utilize in terms of that. And I heard a couple different theories about how they could use these factions going forward to have a set crew when you're playing the game. And this one's super interesting to me. I think it was Matters that talked about this, so shout out to Matters. If you don't already know Matters, he's pretty dope. Depending on which faction you choose, will then make it so whichever characters you could play on that map are only from that faction for that season. For example, let's say you picked Requiem for Season 1. Well, then your characters that you could play as would be Weaver, Gray, Carver, and Strauss. If you were to pick Omega, you could get Kravchenko, Peck, Dr. Jaeger, whatever the other guy's name is that I can't think of right now. And then basically those would be your set 4 characters for that season with their own dialogue lines and their own sort of story arc between themselves. And then again, by playing as these factions, you can unlock specific, maybe cosmetic items that pertain specifically to that faction, or maybe you can unlock different weapon variants and stuff like that. Now, I don't think that they would go all Black Ops 2 and give us a bunch of different Easter egg endings. I think they're kind of over that now and they want to tell one constant story. But, I mean, honestly, with the world of Call of Duty right now, breaking off into some weird multiverse again wouldn't even surprise me at this point. There's a lot of different ways that they can make the factions work in this game, and it almost makes me wonder if they're trying to bring back a lot of the things from maybe Black Ops 4 that they thought was a good idea, but they just executed it incorrectly in that game. Which honestly I wouldn't hate. I would actually kind of like that. And like, screw it. I know they said the Chaos storyline isn't part of the, like, this Dark Ether storyline. Screw it. Make it part of it. Who cares? Now I'm just rambling. Not the point. Factions inside of Call of Duty Zombies have been something that people have been talking about for quite a long time. I always thought it would be cool if, like, everybody around the world could pick different factions. So, like, maybe 500 people pick Requiem, another 500 pick Omega, so on and so forth. And then those factions can basically duel against each other in like a leaderboard sort of thing. You know, most kills, most revives, so on and so forth inside of the game that you can use to rank up and maybe unlock new cosmetic items. Like I said, maybe like a Spesh sweatshirt that you can go down to the description and check out. #ad. That's right. I sponsored myself. I don't even think that's possible. We're moving on. The problem is, are these factions even really a thing we need to be talking about? Because if this is all just random stuff people posted on Twitter. Hell, I could have fake made this and put it on Twitter and set the community ablaze like it's been for the past few days. So, again, take all this with a grain of salt. Do I think this is a real image? Not necessarily, but I also don't think that it's completely doctored to the point where we shouldn't at least look into the fact that factions may be returning to Call of Duty's 2023 title, Black Ops 69 or whatever it's going to be. And as for that Dark Ether faction, I think it's going to be super important to see what happens in the Vanguard storyline to kind of keep up and see where that Dark Ether faction could be forming, who could be inside of it, and how that's all going to work out in the next Call of Duty game. That game would probably be set in maybe the early 90s, I guess, for Call of Duty. I mean, we've never really had a Call of Duty game that was in the early 90s. But I would assume it would be a game that's shortly after Cold War. Because obviously it was 5 years later, at least from a zombies perspective, that Peck went looking for that spot in the Pacific Ocean. So I would assume that the story would just pick up from right there, but obviously it's way too early to tell. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon.
Big shout out to all the channel members over on the channel, and an extra special shout out to all of the Zombie Richtofen members, starting off with the M60 wielding maniac, Deathwish, my guy, Ben the Bulldozer, and the man, the myth, the legend, Tis Brandon, ZR.